Hello everyone, it's good to see you again. Welcome to the online class. Today we are going to discuss about addressing modes of your 8051 microcontroller. I'm sure in 8085 we already discussed these addressing modes, and majority of the addressing modes are same, but there is a slight differences because it is a microcontroller. Okay, and let's start. So there are total 5 addressing modes. So immediate addressing mode, register, direct, indirect, and index. So what is mean by addressing mode? Okay. Now, if you take any instruction, so instruction is divided into 2 parts. What are those 2 parts? Opcode and operand. What is meant by opcode? The operation which you want to perform on what? On data. Now where is the data in the instruction? That is called your operands. So that means we are having opcode and we are having operand in your instruction. The addressing mode means the manner in which you are giving the data in an instruction is called addressing mode, or we can say how you are giving the data to an instruction, that is called addressing mode. So we are having 5 different addressing modes. So let's start with the first addressing mode, that is the immediate addressing mode. So what is immediate addressing mode? We are immediately giving the data in an instruction. That means we are giving directly the data to an instruction. That is called your immediate addressing mode. Okay. Now take an example. There is one instruction. So there are more examples I'm going to discuss here. There are some practical examples also I will discuss this during addressing modes. So please pay attention. Okay. And coming to the first addressing mode, immediate addressing mode. Now there is an instruction move a comma hash 15h. So when what is mean by move means copy the data from one location to another location. Okay. Now what I am doing here, I'm giving the data 15 to the register A. Okay. How you are saying it as data? It can be address also, right? Now, if you already know that if there is a hash present in the instruction, that means that is called your data. So whenever if you see the hash in an instruction, that is called your data. That means I am giving the 15 data to the register A. Now the register A will consist of 15 after executing this instruction. Understood this now? This much? Okay. Now there is another instruction. If you take move dptr comma hash 2000h. Now what is in by 2000h? It is a 16-bit number. Now what is a 15h? That is a 8-bit number. So if you know that the features of 8051 microcontroller, all the general purpose register size is 8-bit because the size of the microcontroller is 8-bit, right? Now if you want to store the 16-bit number in any register, can you store it? No. Okay. So to store the 16-bit number in one register, we can use the dptr. Okay. So if you pay attention to my last lectures during the register organization of your 8051 microcontroller, what is meant by dptr? Data pointer. So data pointer means it is pointing out the data of present in the external memory. Whenever if you want to get the data from the external memory, we can use the dptr. Okay. Now if you want to store the value in the dptr, you need to initialize some value. That means we will use this instruction move dptr comma hash 2000h. We will use this instruction hash move dptr comma hash 2000h. This instruction we are using frequently during this topic. Please pay attention. So after executing this instruction, what will be the value of the dptr now? 2000h, right? That is your 2000. So that is a simple addressing mode, immediate addressing mode. Whenever if there is a hash in front of the data, that means it is a data. Okay. Otherwise it is address. If you don't have that hash, that means it is address. Okay. The next, before going to the next addressing mode, you need to look into this figure. I'm sure you have noticed something. So this figure is already we have discussed during the last class, previous lectures. Now the main concentrate we need to concentrate here. This is actually internal RAM structure of your 8051 microcontroller. Now you observe there are register banks. So there are 32 general purpose registers are there, and among all these 32 general purpose registers, we have divided them into banks: bank 0, bank 1, bank 2, and bank 3. Okay, and each and every registered bank consists of 8 registers. What are the names of the 8 registers? R0 to R7, and each and every register has one address location. Okay, to in order to identify, in order to access the data from that particular register. Okay, now what is the next addressing mode? Register addressing mode. So first one is immediate addressing mode, the next one is register addressing mode. In first addressing mode, what we have done, we have given directly data in an instruction. But here what we are doing, we are giving the data inside a register, and that register is given inside your register in your instruction. Understood this point? Okay. Now, and how many general purpose registers are there? Total 32. What are the names of the 32 registers? And it is divided into 4 banks: R0 to R7, R0 to R7, R0 to R7, and R0 to R7. That means technically we are having 32 general purpose registers, but we are using only 8 names to access this because with the help of the bankings. Okay, banking mechanism. And there is another register called A. Okay, I'm sure you know that there are A register and there are B registers. Okay, and A register and R0 to R7. Okay, all these registers can able to use in this addressing mode, register addressing mode. Okay, and there is important point to be noted in this addressing mode is data transfer between 2 RAM registers is not allowed. What is meant by RAM registers? RAM registers are nothing but your general purpose registers, which is R0 to R7, which is having 4 different banks. Okay, so all these general purpose registers we cannot use in the single instruction. Okay, I will come to this point at the end of this addressing mode explanation. We will see. So what is my register addressing mode? We will put the data inside the register and we will give that into the instruction. Now, take one example, move A, R0. Now, so in A register, there is nothing. Assume that they are having nothing in data present in the A register, and coming to the R0. So R0 consists of some value like 15. Why 15? There is 8-bit number. 8-bit number because it is stored in the 8-bit register. R0 is a 8-bit register. Okay. After executing of this move A, R0, what will be the contents of A? 15, because R0, from R0 we will copy the contents and paste into the A, right? So what will be the contents of the R0? We are doing copy paste, not cut and paste. Yes or no? That's why the R0 contents will not change, right? Now we'll take another example, move R3, A. Okay, what is in my move R3, A? I am copying the value of A to the R3 register, right? Now A register consists of now value 15 and R3 consists of nothing, data. Now after executing move R3, A, what will be the value of A? 15, still 15, because we are copying the data from A. And what about the R3? 15. Why? Because we are copying the data from A register to R3. Now with these 2 instructions, you have written a simple program, that is a byte transfer program. That means if you take R0, R0 is part of internal RAM and R3 is also part of internal RAM. Now simply what you have done is copy the R0 value and paste into the R3. If you observe clearly, if you are paying attention to this addressing mode, that means we have copied the data from one location to another location, 1 byte of data. This is simple byte transfer program. Now some students say that, sir, why can't I write move R3, R0, right? Can you do it? Now look at the third point. I am note, data transfer between 2 RAM registers is not allowed. That means we cannot use 2 RAM registers. That means 2 registers in a single instruction. That is a limitation here. You say, sir, why can't we use? Now, if you take a move R3, R0, that means it is having one opcode. If you take another instruction, move R3, R1, that is also having another opcode. That means R3, R2, R3, R4, 5, 6, 7. That means we will get 8 different opcodes for this single combination, right? And if you take for the move R0, R1, R2, R3, R4, that means I will get some other opcode. That means for the single move instruction, I will get total 64 opcodes, different opcodes for these 2 register combinations. So if you know the permutation combinations, you can get 64 different combinations for R3 and R0 for the single move instruction. So there are another additional instructions, subtraction, multiplication, division, logical shift, rotate, left shift, right shift, and there are branching instructions, return, interrupt, return instruction. There are many more instructions. 113 instructions are there in 8051 microcontroller. Now, if you all 113 instruction will take 64 different opcodes for the single combination. You see how many opcodes you require. Okay, that's why to reduce the number of opcodes, we are using only one register in single instruction. That's why we are not using two registers in a single instruction. Okay, so this combination will use no. To reduce the opcodes, we are not using this kind of combinations. So still you can use a comma r0 or a comma r1 or r1 comma a0, any kind of thing. Okay, that is simple register addressing mode. Now before going to the next addressing mode, you need to see this picture again. So what is this picture? If you pay attention to the last lectures, this is left side part, you can see this is the internal RAM structure. On the right side we can see it as special function registers. So in the left side, this is nothing but the internal RAM location and its addresses. So there is a register banks, bit addressable locations and general purpose area. On the right side we can see there are special function registers which they are meant for some special functionality. Okay, all these registers are assigned with some values. Okay, in order to access the internal RAM structure as well as special function registers, I will use the next addressing mode called direct addressing mode. Okay, so apart from this, what is in the direct addressing mode? In the first two addressing mode, what we have done, the data has given directly in instruction. In the immediate addressing mode, the next instruction, what we have done, we have given the data inside a one register and we have given, that is called register addressing mode. And in third addressing mode, what we are doing, direct addressing. That means the name itself indicates we are giving address directly in an instruction. What is the address consists of? Data. That means we are giving indirectly, pointing out that their data is present in this address location and I am giving the address in this instruction. That's why it is called as direct addressing, right? And I told you, so in order to access internal RAM and special function registers, I am using this special addressing. That is your direct addressing mode. So what is a memory locations address, starting address and the ending address of internal RAM? 00 to 7F. Okay, if you pay attention to the previous slide. And there are other addresses, that is your 80 to FF, which is assigned to special function registers. In order to access all these RAM and special function registers, I will use the direct addressing mode, right? Now let's take one example. I will love examples to explain, because if you learn with the help of examples, it's very easy to understand, right? Now there is a memory location. This is a RAM. Suppose take it example, there is a memory and it has some locations from 31 to 37 and so on. And in 35 location, I'm having a value 12. Now taken one example and I'm writing one instruction, move a comma 35. Now what this instruction mean? I am moving the data 35 to a? No. So I told you, whenever if you put hash in front of the data, that is called, it is identified as data. If there is no hash between the number, that is nothing but your address. That means what is the value, that is 35 here? It is nothing but address. Now in address 35, I am having the value 12. So after executing this instruction, what will be the contents of A? The contents of the memory location from 35 is copied to 12. Will the 35 location data is removed? No, because we are doing the copy paste. Okay. Now again we will take another example. Now there is another memory location and now the A register consists of value 75. Now I will write the instruction like this, move 31H comma A. What does it mean? I will copy the value of A register to the memory location, into the memory location 31H. Now there is a value 75 in the A register, that will be copied to the 31 location. So before that, 31 location does not consist of anything. So after executing this instruction, I can able to get the value 75 in the 31 location, right? And I will take another example. And I am having a data 75 in 31 location. Now what I want to do is, I want to copy this data into some other memory location, that is called your 34. Okay. Now I can able to use this instruction. So move 34H comma 31H. I can write like this because I am giving two address locations in the single instruction. I can write, this is a perfectly valid instruction. Okay. So what we are doing, I am copying the value of the 31 location into the location 34. So what is the 31 location value? 75. What is the 34 location consists of? Nothing. So after executing this instruction, I can able to copy the value of 31 location to 75. Copy that. So there is no cut and paste, only copy paste. Now I understood what is meant by direct addressing mode. So directly we are giving the addresses in an instruction, right? Okay. So the next addressing mode is indirect addressing mode. Now the first addressing mode data is given directly in an instruction. In second addressing mode, that is your register addressing mode, we are giving the data in the register. And the third addressing mode, direct addressing mode, we are giving the address directly in an instruction. And in the fourth one, that is your indirect addressing mode, we are giving the address inside one register. Okay, and that register is given here into the instruction, right? That is called your indirect addressing mode. Now if you pointing out the previous addressing mode, only we can access internal RAM only in the direct addressing mode, right? Whereas in indirect addressing mode, we can access both. What is meant by both? That means I can access internal RAM as well as external RAM. Remember this point, I can use both internal RAM addresses, I can also use both external RAM addresses. What is the size of the internal RAM addresses? 8-bit. What is the size of the external RAM addresses? 16-bit. Why? Because external RAM size is 64 KB, right? That's why it requires 16-bit address bus. Okay, now in this addressing mode, by using this addressing mode, majority, so right now we are writing some serious programming. If you want to do the serious programming, we will use this addressing mode. 95% of the world real world programming is be done by using this addressing mode. Okay, why? I will explain with the practical example while explaining at the end of this addressing mode. Okay, so please pay attention. Now that means I can access both internal RAM as well as external RAM. So you know that internal RAM is nothing but inside your microcontroller. External RAM is present outside of your microcontroller. The blue box is nothing but your microcontroller, right? Okay. Now let's start with the internal RAM. That means I can access both internal RAM and external RAM. Now first we will start with the internal RAM. Now, what is the size of the internal RAM addresses? 8-bit. That means I can use 8-bit registers. So what are the different registers are available? R0 and R1. So we are not using A register or B register. We are using only R1 or R0 as a data pointers to access the internal RAM structures. Okay. Now there is a different sign we will use in this addressing mode, that is called @. Okay. So @ indicates it is nothing but indirect addressing mode. So differentiate between the register addressing mode and indirect addressing mode, we will use @ symbol. So in order to differentiate between direct addressing mode and immediate addressing mode, we will use hash symbol, right? Similarly, we are using @ symbol to differentiate these two addressing modes. Now we'll take one example. Okay. Now in order to access the data, we will use only R0 or R1. So that means I am using here R0, and before that I am using the @ symbol. Now you will take one example here. So this is our memory location, and it is the starting, address is 40, 41 and so on. And in 42 memory location, I am having value 25, right? Now if you look at this instruction, move A comma @R0. Now the A register does not consist of anything. Now R0 consists of 42. Now after executing this instruction, what will be the contents of A? Will it be the 42 or will it be the 25? It has to be 25 because I have written @. So whenever if you are writing @, this 42 becomes address. Now the 42, this is the address. The address has this value, and that value will be copied to your A location, A register, right? Now see, the A register consists of 25. Same R0 consists of 42 because we cannot able to modify the contents, right? Just we are pointing out the data present in the location 42, which is in your R0. Okay. Now we'll take another example. We love examples, we'll better understand it. So if you understand with the help of examples, it's very easy, right? Now, what is the meaning of this instruction? Move @R1, A. That means I am copying the value of A into your R1 register's memory location pointed out by the R1, right? Now there is a memory location. Okay. And the A register consists of 65. Now I want to copy this value 65 into the memory location pointed out by the R1. Why I'm stressing out the memory location? Because there is a @ symbol. So whenever there is @, the R1 becomes nothing but your address. Now there is a 46 memory location. Go to the 46. It does not consist of any data. Now after executing this instruction, what will be the data of the 46 location? You will get 65. What is the value? Whatever the value present in the A register, that same will be copied to your 65. Why? Because this is nothing but your @ symbol, because it is indirect addressing mode. So this is your internal RAM addressings. Okay. Now coming to the external RAM, I told you in indirect addressing mode we can access both internal RAM as well as external RAM. Now we have seen the internal RAM and we will see the external RAM. Now what is the size of the external RAM? 16-bit addresses, 16-bit. That means we need to use 16-bit registers. Okay. Now, so the 16-bit register to store the external RAM is DPTR. Now again I have given one clue here. I can use R1 and R0 also. Sir, just now you told me that external RAM address is only 16-bit, but why we are using R1 and R0? Okay, because it is 8-bit registers. But I will tell you why we will use R1 and R0 to access the external memory later. Now, first of all, keep concentrate on the DPTR. So what is the value, what is the size of the DPTR? 16-bit. So I told you, DPTR means data pointer. Whenever if you want to access the data from the external memory, I will use this register DPTR. Okay. Now, in order to differentiate between internal RAM and external RAM operations, I will use one simple letter called X. Okay. Now we'll take one example here. Move X A comma @DPTR. What is mean by X here? That means I am accessing the data from the external memory. So whenever if you see here X, that is nothing but your external memory I am accessing. And what is the memory location? Where is the memory location? Which is present in the DPTR, right? Now see, the addresses are changed to the 4-bit hexadecimal numbers. Why? Because the external RAM size is 16-bit address bus. Okay. Now in DPTR, I am having a value 2803. Okay. Now what is 2803? It is nothing but the address, because I have written @. So whenever there is @, that this value becomes your address. In this address location, I'm having a value 32. Now the 32 will be copied to your A register. After executing this instruction, the value 32 will be copied to your A register. Now, did you understood this much? Right. Now we will take another example. Move X @DPTR, comma A. Whenever if you return X here, that means I am accessing the only external RAM, external memory, right? Now, what is the meaning? There is a value present in the A register that will be copied to the memory location pointed out by the DPTR. Now, we will take this one example, and there is a value of 47 present in the A register. That 47 will be copied to the memory location pointed out by the 2806 memory location, that is pointed out by the DPTR. Whenever if you write @, that value becomes your address. In that particular address, I can able to copy the value into the register. I mean from register to that memory location. Now you understood this much. Now I told you we are using R1 and R0 also to access the external RAM. Now what is the external RAM addresses? 16-bit. What is the register size R1 and R0? 8-bit. Now how to store a 8-bit, 16-bit address into 8-bit registers, right? This is a one confusion. Now to avoid that confusion, I will give you one simple example here. Now, if you take, this is your external RAM memory. What is the size of the external RAM? 64 KB. In order to access 64 KB, I require 16-bit address bus. So what is the starting location of the address bus? 0000, 4 zeros. And the ending location is FFFF, 4 Fs. This is your starting location and this is your ending location, right? Now, if you take the first 256 locations, okay, which is having the addresses like 000, 0001, 0002, and up to 000FF. Now, if you eliminate the last 2 digits of each and every addresses, this is nothing but your 8-bit addresses, right? That means I can access the first 256 locations of your external RAM memory with the help of 8-bit addresses by eliminating the last 2 zeros, because whenever if you put the 0 on the left side of any number, there is no valid, right? That's why I will use the first 2 addresses bits, that is your 8-bit addresses, to access the first 256 memory locations. For that, I will use the R1 and R0. Now we understood, right, why we are using R1 and R0 to access the external memory. Because if you want to access only for small part of the memory of your external RAM, I can use R1 and R0. This is the one advanced feature which Intel has implemented in your 8051 microcontroller, in the latest versions of your 8051 microcontroller. Okay, in earlier versions this feature is not there. And if you look at this instruction move x, whenever if I say x in this 8051 microcontroller, that means we are using from the external memory, we are accessing the data from the external memory. Now external memory has the addresses 16-bit, but we are using only the first 2 bits, that is your first 8 bits of your addresses, which is present in your register R1. Now by eliminating the last 2 addresses of the 16-bit, I can get 00, 01, 02 and up to FF. And I want to copy the data of the memory location 0001, that is your 01 location, which is 65, to the A register. Now after executing this instruction, I can copy the value of the 25 into your 65 into your register, but here it has to be 65, but in PPT I have done some mistake. Okay, now we'll take another example. So up to this, you understood now. Now coming to the practical example. So I told you I will explain one practical example for this addressing mode. So you are having a laptop, you are having mobile phone, etc. Now you are having so much memory in your device. That is your RAM and ROM. Okay, and in ROM you will use some songs. You can store some songs, documents, programs, pictures, movies, etc. So many things. But whereas the memory can able to store only in the form of ones and zeros, that too in the form of bytes. Okay, now if you want to store a movie inside your memory, the movie will be stored inside in the form of ones and zeros, that too in the sequential locations, consecutive locations, not random locations. Did you understand this much? Yes. Okay, now we'll see one example. Now this is my laptop. Okay, and I'm having some movie, one recent movie in my laptop. Now you asked me to copy this movie. Okay, now you given me pen drive. Okay, so sir, please copy the movie to my pen drive. Okay, now you have inserted the pen drive to your laptop. Okay, now I started copying. How you will copy the movie? So right click on that movie file name and send it to, or just copy and paste it in your pen drive. Okay, now that means there is some program is happening in the background. So what is that program? We will see. Now in my laptop I am having one memory. Okay, if you take any memory, that means it is having address locations and data also. And in pen drive also there is a memory to store your movie, and that means it is also having address locations and data to store the in your address location in your memory. Okay, now so this is my address locations. Okay, this is my laptop and this is my storage, and there are some address locations like 02800, where from where the movie has stored in the form of ones and zeros, that is your hexadecimal numbers. Okay, 56, 45, 21, this is nothing but your movie, not the numbers. So if you know how the movie is stored inside your computer. Okay, now what is my goal? To copy this movie to another memory location, that is your pen drive. Okay, so in pen drive I am having again some memory, and that is having some address locations. Now I want to copy the movie from my laptop to my pen drive with the location starting from 4000, but what is where the movie started here? 2800 location. Now we will write the program to access the series of bytes, series of data, because I want to access one byte, one byte, one byte, and so on up to whenever the movie has finished in the storage. Okay, now for that we will use one DPTR register and another one is R0 register. Okay, in order to access. Now tell me the program to do this one. So first of all I will use move DPTR to hash 2000. What is this addressing mode? Immediate addressing mode. I told you whenever if I write hash, this is nothing but your data. I have copied the data into DPTR, that is 2800. Now DPTR consists of 2800, and the next one R0 consists of 4000. What is a 4000 location? In pen drive the starting address of your where you want to store the movie is 4000, which is copied into the R0. Right, now what I am doing is I will use move a comma at the rate DPTR. So what is this addressing mode? Indirect addressing mode. Whenever if I say at the rate, that means I am copying the value of the data present in this memory location. What is the memory location? 2800. In 2800 I am having the value 56. That will be copied into the A register. Now what I am doing? I am copying the 56 value into the R0 register. That R0 register consists of the value 40,000. That means your 40,000 is pointed out your by R0, right? And increment the DPTR and increment the R0. Okay, now increment the R0. I mean increment DPTR 2801, 2801. You will get the next address location. Again, you will do the same process, copy this one and increment R0. So R0 will increment by 4001. Okay. So we'll put it in the loop. That means it is keep on getting the sequential data and copy it into the another memory location. So after executing this program, this is the your movie copied from this one to this pen drive. Okay. So this is a practical example which we can use the indirect addressing mode. Now you see the 95% of the programming we are using the indirect addressing mode. Okay. So the last addressing mode which we are going to see is indexed addressing mode. As some this is one tricky addressing mode. So before understanding this tricky addressing mode, I will explain with one example. Okay. So first of all, we will see what is some theory present in this indirect addressing mode. Now, just like your indirect addressing mode, I can use access RAM and ROM, right? Here, I can use internal ROM and external ROM. There in indirect addressing mode, I can use internal RAM as well as external RAM. But here, I can use only internal ROM as well as external ROM in the indexed addressing mode, right? And while accessing the indirect addressing mode, I will use two registers to give the address. But whereas in other addressing modes, if you take direct and indirect addressing mode, I am using only one register to give the address. But here we are using two registers. Okay, please pay attention. Now, this actually why we are using this addressing mode is to access the data which is present in the lookup tables. Okay, I will tell you what is meant by lookup table within a short period of time. And in order to access the data of your lookup tables, I will use two registers. One is A register or DPTR, or A register and PC. I will combine these two registers and I will get one address. And with the help of one address, I can able to access the information. Okay. So whatever the value present in the DPTR becomes your index register, I mean offset registers. And this is nothing but your index. So if you know the concept of offset and index, okay, in your memory segmentation of your 8086 processor, the same concept will apply here. Okay. Now, just like your index indirect addressing mode, I am using X there, but here we are using C. What is the C represent? Code memory. So ROM is also known as program memory or code memory. Why? Because we are storing the programs or storing the code inside that memory, right? That's why we are calling it as code or program memory. Now you see this picture. What is this picture represents? This is 7 segment display. If you observe carefully, there are 7 LEDs are there. So where depends upon where in which LED we are operating, we will can able to indicate some numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to F. Okay, right? Now you see, if you observe carefully, there are 7 LEDs. LED is nothing but light emitting diodes. Okay. Now, if you want to turn on the LED, I will use some pins here. A pin, B pin, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, there are 7 pins, right? So if you put 1 to this particular pin, this LED will glow. If you put 0 to this particular pin, LED will off, right? So similar way, if I want to get the some numbers, I will send some values, right? Now look at the right side of the table. If I want to display 0, what is the LED I need to turn off? Only LED, G LED. So if I turn off this G LED and turn on all the remaining LEDs, I will get the 0, right? Now, and we are having only 7 LEDs, okay, 7-bit numbers I want to operate, but because we cannot able to operate directly on 7-bit numbers, that way I have taken some extra pin called H. Okay, by default the H is 0 0 0 0. All the values of that H is 0 0 because I want to get 8-bit numbers, because we are having only 7 here. So that's why you need to make into 8. That's why I have taken one extra. And if you put the 0 there to the G, that means I will turn off the LED. What about the remaining LEDs? We can able to turn on, so that I can able to get the value 0. If you convert that one into hexadecimal number, what is the value? 3F. And for 1, I will turn on only B and C, so that I can able to get only 1, so that remaining LEDs gets turned off. What is the value? 06. That means for each and every digit, I will use some hexadecimal numbers. Okay. Now, all this is nothing but your permanent numbers. Okay, it won't change. Okay, that's why we'll store this permanent data inside one memory called ROM, read-only memory. Okay, in read-only memory, we can store this information in the form of lookup tables. Okay, if you see 3F, this is the value of 0. If you see 06, this is the value of 1. If you pay attention to the last slide, 1 for 1 06, for 2 5B, like that you can able to store this information, right? Now I want to display value 1 in the 7 segment display. For that, what I will do is, first I will take 2000 in the dptr, okay, and I will take whatever the value I want to display, I will take 1, okay, I want to display 1, okay. Now what I am doing is a plus dptr. What is the a plus dptr? A is value consists of 1, dptr consists of 2, 2000, right? So 2000 plus 1, what is the value? 2001. Now if I write at the rate, what is at the rate? It indicates address, so it becomes address. In this address, what is the value? 06. If I get 06h, okay, if I give that one to the port, so you know port, right? Port has 8 pins. That means I can connect 7 segment display to the port. If I send this value to the port, that means the port can able to, that 7 segment display can able to see display the 1, because I am sending the 6. How I have get the 6? Because with the help of a plus dptr, okay. If I want to get some 3, so 3 it means this is the 4f, so I will put 3 here. What will happen after this? A plus dptr, a means 3 and 2003. In 2003 memory location, I will get 4f. That 4f will be given to the port 1. For the port 1, I have connected 7 segment display. Now the 7 segment display will display the 3, okay. So this is the one of the good example to able to access the information. Now we will write the program. So dptr consists of value 2000 initially. Now move a comma 0 1h hash 0 1h, that means a value will get 01, and move c here. I have written c means I am accessing the data from external rom. That's why I am using the c here, okay. Now a plus dptr means 2000 plus 1, 2001 memory location 06 will be displayed here. That will be given to the a, and that a is given to the port 1. That means I can able to display 1 there, okay. So this is your index addressing mode. That means if you want to access the data from the lookup tables inside your external ROM memory, I will use this addressing mode, move c a comma at the rate dptr. Now if you want to access the data from the internal ROM, then means I can use pc, program counter, okay. So this is your addressing modes. I think this is the end of this class. So if you are having any doubts, you can just type in the chat box, or you can personally ping me in the WhatsApp, or you can unmute your mic.